Secrets hidden in plain sight. Powers that move the world in the shadows. Questions no one dares to answer. Step beyond the Matrix. Subscribe.
Into thinking there isn't one, but the evidence will be clear. So like when I be like, oh, these guys are wearing dresses. Everybody's like, oh, he keeps talking about people wearing dresses. No, it's
That
not,
is a weird thing.
It's not like that. Look at it from a different way. Look at it. Show me one person that ever wore a dress in Hollywood unsuccessfully. That's how you understand what a ritual is. So 20 years ago, I knew that transgenders was going to be a thing. It wasn't because I was a prophet. It's just I had gotten so much information that I understood that things are secular. So I understood that the earliest I had seen that word transgender was Baphomet, the transgender. And so I knew that in the ritual of Baphomet, the transgender, to show allegiance to him, you had to kiss his ass ring.
Really?
And it said both of those things. So I knew that both of those things would become popular in the future, and that somehow calling people the goat would be normalized over the sheep being always the most popular reference.
Hello. My name is Montague William III, and what I will tell you may well sound absurd, but the less who believe it, the better for me. For you see, I'm in banking and big industry. For many a year we have controlled your lives, while you all just struggle and suffer in strife. We created the things that you don't really need, your sports cars and fashion, plasma TVs. I remember it clearly how all this begun. Family secrets from father to son. Inherited knowledge that gives me the edge, while you people lie sleeping at night in your beds. We control the money that controls your lives, whilst you worship false idols and wouldn't think twice about selling your souls for a place in the sun. These things that won't matter when your time is done. But as long as they're there to control the masses, I just sit back and consider my assets, safe in the knowledge that I have it all, while you common people are losing your jobs. You see, I just hold you in utter contempt. But the smile on my face, well, it makes me exempt. For I have the weapon of global TV, which gives us connection and invites empathy. You would really believe that we look out for you, while we bankers and brokers are only a few. But if you saw that, you'd take back the power. Hence, daily terrors to make you all cower. The panics, the crashes, the wars, and the illness that keep you from finding your spiritual wholeness. We rig the game, and we buy out both sides.
The elites have seen the future and they didn't like what they saw, which is why they're trying to change the future. This is called Project Looking Glass. So the government created a device that was reverse engineered from alien technology, allegedly from the Roswell crash thing. And they created a device that could see into the future, and they could see different timelines and different future possibilities. And they didn't like what they saw because the timelines got fixed and they couldn't see any other variations. And they only saw one variation back in 2012 is when things stopped working. In the Infinity War movie, Doctor Strange looks at all the future outcomes and they only find one where they could win. And that's essentially what Project Looking Glass is. But the government didn't see what they wanted to see, which is why they're releasing the files right now to speed things up, to get people all riled up, to create this unrest and revolution. Because when revolution happens, in which it should, because obviously pedophiles torturing kids and stuff is unacceptable. We must stop that. But they're doing that because they want to destabilize the world. There are nations overthrowing their leadership, and they want us to revolt and do the Rebel Alliance and Star Wars so that they can come in and fill in the power vacuum. because they want everyone on one team. And the United States is everyone on one team in order to prepare to fight the next threat. I believe that Christ already returned in the first century, and we're living in Satan's little season right now. I've already done videos on this, my Millennial Kingdom playlist on my page. Watch those videos, okay? I break it down as best I can. One day, Christ will appear in the sky with the Emerald City, the Crystal City. And in order to get all the humans to fight against Christ the Redeemer, against God, they have to get the New World Order set up first. That's why they release the files, get you all riled up to destabilize the world, and then come in and fix everything. And then there's all peace and prosperity. Aliens are going to show up, and they're going to say that Christ is aliens, and they're going to get all of us to act like this and fight against the aliens, who is going to be Christ in the air. Everything is about Jesus, man. These people doing stuff in the files, they're not just depraved people. They're literally sacrificing to little g false gods, dark entities, Moloch. And you still think that this Jesus and God is not real? It's going to be just like this probably, or similar. Some crazy stuff is going to be in the sky. And they're going to be like, oh, aliens. No, it's God. If you take part in the revolution, just know after the revolution will be the New World Order. Prepare yourself for that.
Okay, so while we're being distracted by alien declassifications and still being flooded with all these files, even though nobody's getting locked up, did y'all know that South Korea, Japan, and Germany sent over some reporters over to go on the ground in Minnesota to report back? And even like Lithuania, like all these different countries are covering what's going on in Minnesota and quite literally calling the states a war within, talking about the fact that what they're seeing like live over here is crazy, even though it's not on our news networks. And crazier part about this is somebody in the comments who's actually on the ground said that they're going and walking through people's yards, like walking through people's homes, violating privacy, and furthermore going into apartment buildings and quite literally pulling down fire alarms to get people to come outside. Like the states is now giving worse of the worst 1930s Germany to the point where there's like travel bans. Nobody's getting locked up. Nobody's getting held accountable. And it's just giving collective chaos because at the same time, you have everybody scurrying, freaking out because of what's going on with all these flights going to Iran, trying to pull troops out. Like all types of army wives, military husbands coming out talking about the fact that, you know, their family, they're pulling everybody out of the Middle East. And you're just like, what exactly is about to happen? Furthermore, you have what's going on with Puerto Vallarta and Jalisco in Mexico. And you have the cartel that got taken down to the point where now they're saying that the airport shut down, businesses are shut down. So much all at once. No accountability, no consequence, no resolution. But in our own backyard, it's still happening. What's happening in Minnesota is still very much happening. And we're not even getting coverage on it the way that we should be. The other countries are letting us know what's going on in our own country. Just want to share that with you. Let me know if you're keeping up with that. Per usual, this is all alleged. Don't want to misinform you. So I definitely implore you to do your research. I can't confirm or deny any information, but drop your thoughts in the comments. If you don't know what I'm talking about, save this video, go look into it. Come back, let me know what you think. Like, follow, stay for some more.
Pay attention. If you haven't seen the movie Cell that came out in 2016, you got to go watch that. I found an interesting correlation and connection between the movie Cell and how our 5G towers are set up today with US patents. Here's a sneak peek of the movie Cell and what I'm about to connect.
Hi, Dad.
Hey, buddy.
Coming home?
Yeah, soon.
Okay, as you can see, the GOV flips a switch. Everybody's cell phones emit a frequency through the towers that connects to their phone, and everyone loses it. And they turn into kind of like zombies. We're going to touch on that. All right, just running through the data real quick. There's more active cell phone subscriptions in the world than there is people, which is very interesting. Maybe some people have 2 phones, 3 phones, whatever that looks like. But there's more active cell phones in the world right now than there is people. Now, as the end of 2025, the 5G towers in the entire world can reach about 60% of our entire population at an instance. Now that we know that there is more cell phones active in the world than there are people, and there's about 60% of the population that's covered by 5G towers, You're going to find these next 2 US patents very interesting. The first patent, as you can see on the screen, is a nervous system manipulation through electromagnetic fields. What's interesting about this is that the electromagnetic field that they would use to, say, control your nervous system is through a monitor or a device. So meaning your handheld cell phone, a TV, a laptop, any of those types of things, which is very unusual because it's going to emit a frequency from the tower, the cell tower, and it's going to hit your phone. Next patent. This is also a US patent. It's called mind control. So they're able to go in and transmit a frequency to control your alpha waves and theta waves in your brain. So your brain waves. And they can control what it is that you do through controlling your actions, your subconscious and your conscious mind. So they can make you do anything, which is kind of weird, you know, when there's people that are like, yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know why I, unalive these people. Something just came over me. It makes you think. Okay, now that we understand the 2 US patents, mind control, control your nervous system, they can control your actions, how you think, all that stuff, control it. They can override your whole system, right? It's proven, it's already has patents. They can literally do it any day. Now, if we go back to the movie Cell, that's exactly what happened. They released a signal from the cell phone towers that hit their cell phones globally, and it turned them into like cannibalistic zombies almost, right? By the flip of a switch. They were hive-minded, they worked in groups, and they were hunting people. And they had no control over this because their system was overridden. Okay, let's tie it all together now. Now that you know all this information, I think that it's really odd that the CDC has a zombie preparedness, as well as the Pentagon has a zombie preparedness plan. Now, both said that the zombie preparedness plan was just a joke. It was just to see if we can come up with a preparedness plan if there were zombies. But it's completely fake. It would never happen. But both of these are still active, and they're legit from start to finish on a preparedness plan that can go into play if there was a zombie apocalypse. I don't know. What do you think?
Hillary Clinton. What if it's far worse than you think? You guys remember John F. Kennedy Jr.? He was declared the frontrunner for the New York Senate seat back in 1999. Days later, his plane crashed in the Atlantic Ocean. His rival, Hillary Clinton, became senator. Mary Mahoney was a White House intern. She knew enough about the inner workings of Bill Clinton's sexual advances to be a key witness in the impeachment trials. She was brutally murdered at a Starbucks that she managed back in 1997. 1993, White House counsel Vince Foster was found dead in Marcy Park. He supposedly offed himself. Amongst a lengthy list of foul play, the bullet was never found. Then there was James McDougal, a key witness for the White House prosecutors. He was serving a 3-year sentence for bank fraud in Fort Worth Federal Medical Center in Texas. And just before he was supposed to give his testimony before the grand jury, he suffered a heart attack in solitary confinement. 2015, Walter Scheib, a White House chef under Bill Clinton, joined the list. He was found at the bottom of a river, 2 miles away from a trail that he was reportedly hiking. Autopsy determined that he died from accidental drowning, but he may have known too much. 27-year-old Democratic committee staffer Seth Rich was shot and killed in D.C. in 2016. There was speculation that he was the source of the leaked emails sent allegedly by DNC staffers and may have been murdered in retaliation. Then there was Sean Lucas, lead attorney in the fraud case against the DNC. He was found on the bathroom floor by his girlfriend when she returned home. His death was reported classified pending the results of an autopsy, and then the case went cold. Make your own judgment, but follow if you want to see more videos like this, and let me know what you guys think in the comments.
Trust me, you need to watch this.
This is exactly why I don't watch sports. There's a reason why the Romans used to say that if you want to keep people distracted, you simply give them bread and circuses. And it is because they knew that if people were fed and entertained, then they wouldn't question anything and they wouldn't think for themselves. And you see, modern day sports is the exact same thing. People yell at TVs, they memorize stats, they argue over other players, and they even wear another man's last name on their back to vicariously live through them. And you see all of these things happen because they want to keep us distracted and weak. Because when you have something great going on in your life, you simply do not have time to partake in bread and circuses.
See, it's not that sports is necessarily evil, but it's a distraction to keep you away from the truth. More people know about their football team, their basketball team, their baseball team, and they know all the players, all the stats, but they know nothing about the Bible. They go to the games, they're so involved, but they barely even show up to church on Sundays. Listen, you will be held accountable for the works that you do. It's not just saying a prayer one time and living how you want, but you have to live sold out for Jesus. He says you must deny yourself, pick up your cross, and follow after him. And if you want to learn more about the Bible, follow or subscribe right now.
Bro, do you know the shit we saw in those files? And that was just 1%, one tip of the iceberg. Imagine if everything gets leaked. The amount of shit we don't know about. You know why? Because ICE is a visible enemy, and the elite hide behind gates, lawyers, underground tunnels, underground lodges and temples, and cabin lodges and islands, and foundations, and media silence, and respectable images. It's easier to rage at uniforms than it is to rage at billionaires in suits. It is easier to protest systems that look ugly than systems that look successful. It's easier to fight monsters when they don't look like donors, celebrities, or politicians. And that's the part nobody wants to say. We claim we care about children, but when proof drops that powerful people destroyed them, we freeze. We claim we want justice, but when justice would require confronting the top of the food chain, we suddenly get tired. We don't have the energy or the drive. We claim we're awake. We claim we give a shit, but the moment the truth threatens comfort, careers, or stability, we go quiet. People will risk arrest to chant, but they won't risk inconvenience to demand accountability. And that's not because people are evil, it's because we've been programmed to think outrage online is action, and believing awareness is enough, and to accept that some crimes are too big to touch. The Epstein situation did not lack evidence, it lacked courage. And the scariest part, the system learned something from that. It did. It learned that people will scream about injustices, but stay silent when the perpetrators are untouchable. And it learned that outrage has a ceiling, and children fell below it. So when I say we need to put the same energy we put into ICE, into Black Lives Matter, into wars, into culture wars, into school shootings, into trending bullshit, into protecting children, I mean that with my whole chest. I literally do, because this shit is disturbing, bro. Because if mass trafficking and abuse of children by the elite does not trigger sustained global outrage, then what the fuck does? That's the question nobody wants to sit with. And until we answer it honestly, we're not as awake as we think we are. We don't have an awareness problem. We have a selective courage problem. And history does not remember what people complained about. It remembers what they refused to let slide. And that's the line. You know what? That's the line. And that's the truth. And yeah, you know what? It's uncomfortable. But so is living in a world where children scream in silence while adults scroll past the evidence. That's fucked up.
Does anyone else find it odd that we've gotten nothing on the Epstein list, but now you have two Trump haters, Hillary Clinton and John Legend, whose spouses are directly tied to Epstein and pizza party-like behavior, coming out over the weekend publicly praising President Trump for helping broker the peace deal in the Middle East, even going as far as saying that he should win the Nobel Peace Prize. Watch this.
A significant first step, and I really commend President Trump and his administration.
He really, really wants this peace prize, y'all. And now he's made a step in the right direction.
For context, President Barack Obama, another Trump hater, is also celebrating the peace in the Middle East, but he's not mentioning President Trump, and he's definitely not saying he should win a Nobel Peace Prize. Now, maybe they just have different handlers, but it makes me wonder if these two are doing so not because of what's transpiring overseas, but because without the list coming out, it makes their lives more peaceful. As always, I want to hear what you think about all of this down below.
He's definitely the Black Epstein, for sure.
That's who he is.
Think about this. You have two billionaires running around in New York in the same circles and they don't know each other? There's no way. Because Diddy knew Bill and Hillary. Okay, remember that whole vote or die thing that he was pushing?
I remember that.
And then who did like millions of dollars go to what campaign? From Epstein, the Democratic Party. Okay, so he was heavily tied. Okay, they were both heavily tied to politics, musicians, and all these powerful people. So there's no way that they didn't know each other. For sure they did. They knew how to blackmail people. They knew how to get over on people.
Where did Diddy learn his skills from?
Clive Davis. For sure. Like when he started out, he was under Clive Davis, and then he was under Clive Davis. Okay?
I thought he was with Andre Harrell.
He was too, but if you really look at the power players really look at it, I mean, Andre Harrell's out of here too. But if you really look at, you know, Clive Davis and, you know, his whole track record and all this other stuff, really pay attention to who he's hanging around and getting this money from, because that's who gave him his first deal. You know, to break off and do his thing.
Clyde.
Yes.
So when Harrell fired him, Clyde gave him the money to move forward?
Yeah, for Bad Boy. So,
do you think that he killed Biggie?
Who, did he?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of weird that he tells Biggie to stay in LA when Biggie was like, I want to get out of here. And then he says, you know what? That UK trip that you're about to go on? Yeah, cancel that. Whole promo tour, that first time that Big was ever going to go to Europe, he cancels it. You're going to stay in LA behind enemy lines after Tupac dies. Yeah, that's pretty smart. Just saying, where there's smoke, there's fire. Okay? Then, when he gets word that Big was going to be on the cover of Rolling Stones, he says, nah, ixnay that. I want to be on the cover of Rolling Stones.
Evil people control this world because spiritual people forgot how to give libations. Yes, we forgot how to give back to our ancestors. The enemy told us to read this book, this book, this book, this book. So we started reading these books and we started waiting for a savior. Never forget that our ancestors walked this path before us. So if we need answers, it's not about religion. It's about tapping back into your family bloodline. This video is about to get a little dark and a little deep. Stay with me. There's so many good people sitting around the world waiting for change to take place. Change? You want a nickel, a penny, a quarter? Because this is the change you're going to get in the Matrix. Remember, we live in a world where what goes around comes around. Whatever you do, it will come back to you. But is that really true? I mean, they said karma is a real thing, but what if it's not? What if karma was just another system that was created by the 13 bloodlines? Just think about this for a moment. If karma really exists, why are all the evil people billionaires? Why do they own all the land, all the resources, and they do some of the most craziest shit? So why don't karma come back to them? So karma only work with regular people, religious people, spiritual people. Everything in this system is a lie. So never waste your energy by crying over a corrupt system. If you do cry, make sure you go get a plant and let your teardrops fall inside of the soil. If rain can make plants and trees grow, imagine what your tears can do inside of a plant. We are talking about ancient magic. We don't use magic no more, but the enemy use our energy against us, or I should say our magic against us. If we light candles, they say that's witchcraft. If we use crystals, that's evil. That's witchcraft. If we use our imagination to try to get more money, they say, well, money is evil. Money is witchcraft. Everything they say is evil, they use it against us. And last time I checked, they control the whole damn world. Learn how to give libations back to your ancestors because they walked this path before us. Learn how to break bread with people that share the same energy with you. When you give to them, it comes back. Life is not fair. If you want life to be fair, then maybe you should go to a fair. So many people cry and say, life is not fair. Life is not fair. But when you turn your TVs on, what do the media talk about? Fair, fair, fair. So this is fair, and this is another form of a fair. A carnival ride. What goes around comes around. Karma is not real, but if you believe it to be real, it's real.
Did you guys hear what just happened on Dr. Phil? RFK Jr. sitting there talking, and this brave woman asks a question about these and gets an answer on national television. Like, this was, you guys gotta understand, 10 years ago, if you're talking about this, cuckoo, caca, weirdo, you're crazy. It's on TV, dude. RFK is admitting it. Listen to this.
My biggest concern is the stratospheric aerosol injections that are continuously peppered on us every day. Bromium, aluminum, strontium, it's sprayed in our skies all day long. And I know you've talked to Dane Wigington about this. He seems to be one of the experts in the field.
Is there a question?
Yes. How do we stop it?
That is not happening in my agency. You know, we don't do that. It's done, we think, by DARPA. And a lot of it now is coming out of the jet fuel.
Yes,
so, you know, those materials
Sure.
are put in jet fuel.
Dr. Phil said yes,
I'm going
sir.
to do everything that in my power to stop it. We're bringing on somebody who's going to think only about that, find out who's doing it, and holding them accountable.
Yes, sir. Hold on a second. Did I hear that correctly? Did Dr. Phil say yes, sir, twice at RFK Jr.'s admission on them doing strange things in the sky? This could be, I'll tell you this, like this could be a headline. Like, so Dr. Phil, you're telling me the guy believes that they're doing strange stuff up there? I would have never in a million years thought they would ever air something like that. Why now? Because for so long, I mean, this was not mainstream. In fact, I've been roasted many a time for talking about this exact thing. With this, and with the information that's come out in the last few weeks, a lot of what people have been talking about for the last 10 years is being completely confirmed. So I guess send this video to every single person who thinks you're crazy for wondering what's happening in our skies. Now, if you made it this far, I should say that there's a whole lot more I'm going to be posting, but I do want to mention that right now Chalk is giving away free bags of the organic heirloom cacao from Bolivia. This is the chocolate powder. Super detoxing, freaking delicious. And if you combine that with the hot water purified shilajit or the ashwagandha, you're getting some of the most potent superfoods in the natural world. I'm talking fertility, brain function, hormones, energy levels, cognition, and your pineal gland. Comment free below and check your DMs for details.
Warning. If you thought the Epstein files were bad, wait till you find out about their soul tracking technology. You heard me. Soul tracking technology that they've been using and implementing since the 1900s. They have technology that sends signals to them, letting them know what soul is being reincarnated into this material realm. And they have the technology to beam a lifeline to that primordial soul, ushering it into the vessel that they want this primordial being to be born in, controlling the genetic makeup, splicing this being so that way its consciousness can't even resonate with this soul, and it takes you even longer to realize who and what you are and rearrange your genetic coding. Not only that, but then they have the technology that also is controlling your thoughts. It's just the beginning. 2026 just started. Let's go to an interesting clip where one of the government officials blew the whistle.
Thousands and, well, 50,000 years really, and so there was an influx in the 1950s and the 1970s of higher vibrational beings. The controlling consciousness that is in charge at this moment of this planet is what is and are aware of every incarnate being that comes into this planet. Through sexual union between a male and a female, energy is then sent up and vibrates up through frequencies. They have technology to be able to see where, and then a soul is then attracted to a lifetime, and then the soul will then, this is just one way, a soul will then come to the womb of the mother, and they can track this from happening.
Quite literally. If you feel as though you are a part of a family that you don't belong to, that might just be the case. That literally might just be the case. When I say fact is stranger than fiction, I mean just that. And they're not that creative. They put it right in front of your face. In Black Mirror, they put it right in front of your face. In The 100, they put it right in front of your face. And they clone Tyrone that they can capture consciousness and put it into whatever vessel, a clone, another being, another. Or it can get even worse, and they can integrate your consciousness into those supercomputers that they call AI. Yeah, buckle up.
This video is going viral right now because they're talking about UFOs and aliens on Fox News, talking about we need a public inquiry, we deserve to know, and she even mentions the Book of Enoch. Now, many people, they call them UFO nerds, are stoked, but other people are wondering if there's going to be an agenda behind this. Check this out.
Well, I think that the Bible's pretty clear that humanity was not its only creation. And I'm not saying that these are, items that were addressed in the Bible, but it is interesting that if you look at historical context and also documents that have existed throughout time in humanity, and we can get probably into a whole nother topic on that, but you read into the Book of Enoch, a lot of this advanced technologies is potentially referenced then. And so all I'm saying is that from a national security perspective, we, the American people, deserve to know what the government has. They shouldn't be hiding it, and that's what we're here to push for.
Now, right off the bat, if they're going to say these are space aliens, we already know the story there. Could they be creatures from beyond the ice wall? Yes. Are they from space? Does space exist? We need to think about these things. By the way, with all the information that's come out in the last couple of weeks, which we were talking about like 10 years ago, we should be actually inquired by normies about what else is going on, which they doubted, and we were right about. Now, if you made it this far, I should say that there's a whole lot more I'm going to be posting, but I do want to mention that right now Chalk is giving away free bags of the organic heirloom cacao from Bolivia. This is the Chalk Lit Powder. Super detoxing, freaking delicious. And if you combine that with the hot water purified Shilajit or the ashwagandha, you're getting some of the most potent superfoods in the natural world. I'm talking fertility, brain function, hormones, energy levels, cognition, and your pineal gland. Comment free below and check your DMs for details.